All right, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome back to Paranormal Connections radio show. And here we are again. Hold on. For another night. And everybody knows, I was just talking to Chad about this earlier. I think somebody out there in the witchy world who doesn't like us must have tried to put some kind of curse on the show because we've had the show going now for what, probably a
Quite a
few
while,
months.
few
Yeah,
months.
at least a few months. And I will say, probably every other guest has had a last minute emergency. They've been sick, their family members have been sick, their kids have been sick, their car broke down. There's been a wide reasonings of why people couldn't make it, but it always seems to happen, and it happens literally every single time, like 2 hours right before the show.
Strange, huh?
Well, if you put that curse, just let you know it's not going to work. We are still going to continue the show. We always have
Yeah,
something to talk about.
bring it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's right. So, although Nicole Strickland was going to be on the show tonight, we are going to reschedule her. Hey, Lori, nice to see you. Hey, Sparky, nice to see you, my friend. So, what we're going to do is tonight we're going to be talking about a few other subjects. We're going to start out in the paranormal, and we're going to dive off to ufology for a little while because everybody is, as I'm sure, seen on social media or heard on some platform that in Las Vegas there was a UFO that was spotted in the sky. Then
And crashed in somebody's backyard, right?
a crash. They say in the backyard. I don't know per se if it was in the backyard. I know that they said that the crash happened, and then shortly after there was a 911 call from a young kid that was talking about that they had some
Weird
creatures,
creatures in their backyard or something.
8 to 10 foot creatures in their backyard. And
Mhm.
so we're going to talk about that. We're going to see, what everybody thinks on that.
And then, of course, in
Oh,
the
nice
news,
to see you. Oh,
our government, what our government claims, or that whistleblower claims that our government has a hold of a dozen of these different alien crafts that they've just been, tinkering with, I guess. So,
right.
crazy stuff. Claims anyway. Don't know if it's true, but
Absolutely.
different.
Hey, Pat, nice to see you. So, yeah, this is the things that we're going to talk about tonight. Also, we're going to, if you've got, I know a lot of people who watch this show, they have their own teams. So, if you have your own paranormal team, you have a ufology team, you do sky watches, whatever, in the comments tonight, make sure that you post the name of your group. What kind of investigations do you do? Do you residential? Do you do businesses? And where you're located at? Because again, a lot of people go through the videos and they'll watch them later on. And a lot of times people are from a certain place and they're looking for a team to help them out. So I actually get people all the time that contact me. They're just too far away from me. And so I'll usually reach out to people that I know are in the areas. But this will be a great place to support some of our fellow
Watch,
investigators.
Christina,
Yeah,
are you promoting unity here? Unity?
hell no.
Oh, I mean, come on.
I
It's
don't
not
do no
allowed.
damn unity.
Can't
Unity for
promote.
what? Unity for
You
what?
can't
Nobody likes.
keep
Nobody
teams
believes.
away together and get along, and you know,
Oh,
doesn't
we can't
doesn't
even
work.
get the people in the paranormal to get along.
I
So I don't believe in unity there. And I've always said because I investigate everything, when I originally got into the public, the paranormal, if you investigated ufology, they didn't want to mess with you. People who, if you were in ufology and you were in the paranormal, they didn't want to mess with you. Nobody believes in the other, and like Bigfoot and cryptozoology, everybody thinks they're crazy. So,
all very
you know,
similar stuff, though. I mean, it's all kind of paranormal if you think about it.
very much.
You know,
And it's crazy over probably the past 15 years that I've had my group and we've been doing paranormal and ufology research. We've actually found that a lot of people in the paranormal have had UFO sightings, or people who are in the UFO that have been abducted or contacted also have paranormal stuff that they've experienced. So, can I say it's directly connected? For sure, absolutely not. But I think it's quite a coincidence.
Lots of cases that I've been on personally, that there were strange UFO type phenomenon happening too. Quite a few. I mean, I can think of about 20 if I really put my mind to it, that there were lights in the sky, weird lights that would zigzag from the treetops down to the ground. A lot of stuff in the more secluded areas seem to be have a lot more of that type of phenomenon. But it was all, I mean, there were both phenomena going on, and so it definitely, I mean, it is linked. I mean, there's quite a bit of data that would indicate that it's all linked together.
Yeah, especially investigating for so long, and talking to people that have paranormal experiences, as well as people who have experiences of contact or abductees and different things. I'll tell you, it really opened your eyes. And again, it seemed like the more research I did and the more answers that I found, or the connections I could find, the more questions it created.
Right.
So
right.
it's definitely a very interesting, concept just across the board.
It is definitely.
All right. So that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. I think that what we're going to do next week. Hey, Pamela, nice to see you. Next week we have a guest, and what I'm going to do is we're going to have that guest for the first hour. It's going to be Brittany Conley. We're going to have her for the first hour, and then I think the second hour, if she can stay, we'll keep her on with us. But the second hour, I want to do a fact or faith episode. I have seen so much on TikTok. Now, TikTok has now become my, drug of choice. Like, I swear to God, I probably am going to need, TikTok rehab. I can get on there and start watching things, and before I know it, like 6 hours has passed.
Yeah. There's a buddy of mine when it comes to the paranormal part of it. And yeah, there are so many videos on there. I mean, just huge, never ending. Some are pretty interesting though.
They are. Which, again, that's the reason when I was looking through the videos today for the UFO side of this, I have, when I'm scrolling through, I get a lot of the paranormal TikTok stuff that goes through. And like, there's this one house, and this guy is constantly like, things are knocking on his door, things are knocking on his pantry door, things are knocking on his sliding glass door. You can see somebody there, but as soon as he gets there, there's nobody there. Last one I saw, he was upstairs. You could hear something. You can see what looks like a shadow of a child sitting in a chair.
When you're talking about the guy, it's usually a child. Is that what the spirit seems to be?
That's the first time that I've seen the child. I've seen, most of the time I see his stuff come across, it's like
there'll be something in the playpen. There's one I saw, like the little tent thing he had in his front room, and you could see a hand kind of push up against the outside of it. He ran up there, and there's nothing in there.
Oh, I didn't even see that one.
I don't know. It might not be the same one.
Well, I mean, again, there's so many out there, but I mean, when I look at these now, again, although I know, I am fully aware that this kind of paranormal activity absolutely exists. I lived in a place at one point where I had a very annoying spirit. He would not, well, I don't even know if it was him. The spirit would not show itself to me no matter what I tried. But it was annoying as hell. Like, it would turn my lights on in the middle of the night. It would turn my TV off when I'm watching, or on. Knocking on doors and windows very randomly would happen. So again, the fact that I've seen this personally and I've experienced, so I know it can happen. When I see videos on TikTok or YouTube or anything, I know too many people right now that are amazing at editing.
Right. Yeah, there's some people out there like that. A lot of them.
And it's like, I feel like sometimes I need to take these and like send them to like my video editing pros that I know and send it and say, can you look through, because I know there are things that where you can, check the video and you can see if it's been, clipped
Yeah,
down or
the
different.
video is interesting. Said there's one video that is quite a while back that this guy was in his house and he turns around for a second and then there's a noise. He turns around again and all this furniture is stacked like oddly, like chairs and stuff. They're like really uh, strangely stacked and balanced on top of each other. And I got to watching the video and we slowed it down as he walks past the chairs and you can see where the blobs of glue were that he stuck that he had somebody glue the furniture together, obviously. But it was pretty like I mean realistic until that detail, and it's interesting stuff because there are a lot of amateur Steven Spielbergs out there that do their own video effects, but I'm pretty
It's
sure a handful are real.
so
Have to be.
it's so hard to tell. I mean, again, it's like being an investigator, you so want to believe that, people are putting up legit evidence, because they're looking for help or they're wanting to know like what's going on and they're sharing it. But unfortunately, that's not what I find. And it's a
It,
pet peeve of mine because again, it just
it makes us all look bad.
validates what
I
we
mean,
do. Right. I really don't like it. And again, if you're going to do it for views or for whatever, then great for entertainment, great. Just say
I have
that
a
that's what
disclaimer
it is.
saying this is just for entertainment purposes, or
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, no, because then somebody comes up, posts something that's legit, that's amazing, and everybody assumes it's fake. So that's the problem with that. Is that like, yeah,
Um, Russell Deborah, so I have a paranormal team, but this is your moment and your stream and your limelight, and I don't want to take away from you, but thank you for the possibility of mention. Absolutely not. Please, please, please put up the name of your group. We'll love to share it on the screen just like this, so feel free to pass it on.
first of all, we don't do this for the limelight. We just do this because
100, yeah, 100%. I love to promote everybody else. Hey,
we
Stanley, nice
like.
to see you. Stanley says hi, Chad.
Hello, Stanley.
Jeff, Pam says her husband Jeff, and he actually does a lot of sky watches. Says Jeff can usually tell if something's edited, and you
Right.
know, Pam, maybe you can check with Jeff, and I could send him a few of the videos that I'm looking at, and maybe he can give his opinion on, if he thinks they're legit. What I need to do is we need to get like a little panel,
Right. Right.
and then
Round
like,
table deal or something, and
yeah, we're gonna do a round table one of these
discuss it.
times. Hey, Cece, nice to see you. Make sure you put up your information for your team as well. Hey, Kenneth, thank you. How you doing? All right. You said yes. You can take a look. Perfect. Perfect. So yeah. So it'd be very interesting because again, these videos that I'm seeing, um, some of them are very interesting. But again, I love putting up these videos, whether I know they're fake or not. I love to just see what other people's
What
takes
your
are.
thoughts are? Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Sometimes I feel like it's super easy to see that they're faked, but
Yeah.
when I see that people post them online, I see like all their friends like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I'm like, if I see one more dust orb,
Yeah. Lots of
I
people are like,
literally, it's been a lot lately. And I don't know. I mean, again, it is a different time, and a lot of people are trying to get online and share evidence to, get
get
a
out
big
there. Yeah.
following or whatever. But it seems like instead of moving forward in investigators and investigating skills, we are going backwards because
Absolutely. Because none of that's
I,
good. Yeah, none of that's good for the field. Really, I
well,
mean, there's entertainment and then there's the actual research part of it and the scientific part of it. That's dead serious. And those two sides seem to merge too much. The entertainment part and the actual, you know,
and
reality situation.
I don't even know that some people are trying to fake anybody out or fake their evidence. But what I also see is that there's a lot of people out there, and they get an IR camera and they just get a security camera and they put it in their living room or outside of their house. Now this is a big thing for me, outside of their house, okay? Because And then they're like, "Oh, do you see that orb that just passed by? Did you see that spirit?" And I'm
Lots of,
like, "It's outside. Like, do you imagine? Can you even imagine how many bugs are flying at
yeah,
night?"
yeah, lots of possible explanations for that kind of stuff.
But I feel like now there's so much online that there shouldn't be the opportunity or the chance that people are still confusing bugs and dust
Right,
for
right, for the
spirits.
orbs and things like that. Well, yeah, and not to say that there's not a such thing as orbs, because I've got some interesting
Oh
footage that,
yeah, no, 100%.
yeah, it's not a bug, but but it's very dust and dust and bugs and all that stuff. It's very easy to misdiagnose something. And my favorite is where people will be like, "Oh, watch this anomaly," and it's a hair reflecting the IR light off their camera, and it
Right.
flies by the and it floats by the lens, and they're like, "Oh, look at that weird," or whatever. It's like, no, it's a hair. And I've seen a lot of people, misdiagnose that same scenario. People have been in the field for years and years and years. And it's like, well, it's a hair. Um, Sorry, but
I think we need to go like back. I know at one point of time there were a lot of places that were giving out like free classes. And then it went from people giving free classes and they're like, "Oh, people were interested." So everybody was like, "Oh, well, screw that. Now we're going to charge everybody."
money, yeah.
And so once they start charging, everybody's like, "Oh, I don't want to pay that amount of money." But
We're
then they're
talking high
like,
tech stuff's kind of in the kind of the fad right now. All these high tech gadgets, which they're amazing, they're really cool. We had some individuals on those doing amazing things last week. Um, but but it's not bad to stick to just the basic equipment too. That they're like the audio and video recording and capturing evidence. It's like there's nothing better than stationary audio devices that you can pretty much rule out or debunk anything that's not paranormal. And those because those foolproof kind of methods of gathering evidence, or they're not foolproof, but they're more you can validate them easier. And
yeah.
yeah, simple, true. And because these gadgets are amazing, they're great, but um, some are pretty hard to prove that what you're dealing with is paranormal. And that's something that I think people need to go back to the old school stuff once in a while and just see what they get.
Well,
Um,
that's the way I am, just only because I can't really deal with the
oh
techie
yeah,
stuff. But
yeah,
I feel like that's the direction that we're going. Every time,
oh
like,
yeah,
people say, "Oh, what's your favorite piece of equipment?" And I'm like, "Me." But my next would be, an audio recorder. But, it's like that is not sensational enough for people. They don't want to like have to
good,
listen
yeah.
to.
But these gadgets, then the high tech stuff is really, like I said, really interesting, and I like the stuff I've messed around with. It's been interesting, our results, what's produced, but it's something that I personally wouldn't be real confident in saying that it was all paranormal, especially the apps. We talked about that. How many of those things are programmed to do this and that, and because you were looking for data that's pretty concrete there, and but it is going that direction. I think that they're going to come out with some amazing stuff in the future, and some of it's going to be pretty legit, and maybe some of it's not going to be. We'll see.
Well, yeah, that's true. So, all right, let's go. We're going to start with one of our first topics, and I wanted to talk about these new ghost hunting event companies.
Oh yeah.
Um, Now, I'll tell you, 15, 20 years ago, I was actually, back then, they would have like paranormal talent agencies where you would, they would scout you, they would sign you, and then they would put you in different events and you'd make money and, all this different stuff. Um, Now they've kind of got to the point where you're getting groups that are creating like their own LLCs, their own little, event companies, and they're putting on tons, and I mean tons of events. I mean, well-known places, very interesting locations. Pretty much they back to back. And the one that I'm going to be talking about tonight was one that I had discussed with a lot of people online, which was Ghost Hunts USA. Now, that name has been going around for probably, I think, since this story kind of broke around March, I think. And I think it started out with, I can't remember, but I think it was like Wilson Castle or something. But yes, it was the Will Castle. And they were, a lot of things were happening on this. So let me just kind of read what Wilson Castle put out about it. It said, "We've parted ways permanently with Ghost Hunt USA. Here's why. National company that specializes in offering ghost hunting to the public. Ghost Hunt USA approached us about hosting paranormal events at the castle. In the last couple of years, we've had the pleasure of working and meeting some of our amazing staff and guests, some sometimes driving 8+ hours just to attend these events. For each of the ghost hunts they hosted in 2022, the castle had not received any payments. Their contact, which was the director of operations at the time, wasn't responding or returning any calls, emails, or messages since late last fall. And they said at first they were, being gaslit by the company and then ghosted. No pun intended, but they were ghosted by this company. It says it wasn't an easy post to make. We keep an eye on our page. We keep our page positive and enjoy sharing information and experiences that everybody has. And although that they'd had some amazing times and met some great people associated with this company, they could no longer book there in the future. And, it does make sense. So then I started diving in a little bit, deeper in all of this. And I went to the review page, and there were reviews of, they were, I mean, again, these investigations were not cheap either. And people were going all over the place. And then they either, again, maybe last minute, the day of the event, it would get canceled. Or they show up to the location and it was canceled. And then for location, now mind you, they've been, this company, it was being prepaid all of the tickets. Locations aren't being, paid. They're canceling, they're not refunding people their money, and then they're ghosting everybody. So it kind of got out there, and people started sharing their experiences, what was going on, stuff like that. And before you know it, it was whirlwind. And the next thing we know, there was a whole post from Ghost Hunt USA saying that they were now going to shut down the company. They were sorry about, any inconveniences.
They're all
And
free, though.
crazy thing, he didn't say, contact me so that I can get you your refund and take
There you
care of
go.
it.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
Absolutely wasn't the way. What they said is, if you paid and you want a refund, contact your bank.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
But
No, I
what
thought
you don't
it
understand is
was
chargebacks are hard to get sometimes. So, that's just playing and holding your money for, even
right.
longer.
Well, your bank isn't going to be responsible for somebody taking your money and just bailing. That's not really going to.
Hey, David, nice to see you. Looks like you're a new listener. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on the show. Pam is saying hold on.
Bunch of them popping up in
We
Arizona.
stop dealing with these companies because they care not about the locations or helping them. They only care about making a profit. She also said there's a bunch of them popping up here in Arizona. I actually did see that, Pam, and I'm actually seeing them popping up a lot of places around there. Again, I feel like this field, as soon as they see anybody make some money doing something and it fails, they figure like, oh, we can do this and we can do it 10 times better because we're smarter than the next person, and go right
They
back
run.
and say,
They run a bigger scam kind of deal. Well, we run a better scam. So,
right? Let's
well,
see. Raul Torres, nice. Thank you so much for joining. He says Tower Paranormal Investigations here.
right
Hey,
on.
Raul, let us know. Do you do residential? Do you do businesses? And where are you located? So that way I can let our listeners know. Pam says they usually don't give refunds. They want to credit you towards the next event. And that was something else I was
It's
seeing in,
never
at the
around,
beginning. That's what they seem to be doing is they're like, oh, we'll just the next time, or the next event you can go for free. But this was happening at all their events. So I think people were just getting sick
really
and
to have
tired.
another event is if their first one is such a disaster, they're probably not going to have a second one. So
Right.
yeah.
And we know many of these locations that they do these events at are historical locations. And so, these
I
people.
won't mention any names, but we both used to belong to one of these kind of outfits, right? Talked about this on the phone a long time ago, and they had an event at the famous Stanley Hotel. I don't know if you remember this one.
Mhm.
I I was one of the guest speakers, but I couldn't make it. Thank God. But at the end of the event, that the hotel said that company was never allowed back at their hotel again. That's how bad of an example that they set. I mean, in every possible way, the guests got all messed up and got out of control and caused a big scene. And there's so much crazy stuff that happened that they did not allow that they'll never allow them back. So
Hey, some of the events that I saw while working with that company, I would tell you, oh man, I could do a whole show on that.
yeah, I bet.
Stuff that would go on. I was just like, this doesn't have a whole lot to do. But there was
Oh
more
yeah,
eating, getting drunk, fighting.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it was
Setting
interesting.
a good example. Setting a great example for what we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Raul, okay, he says, we do investigations wherever we're needed. My team members are located in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. All right. Well,
Cool.
thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be trying to head out to the New Jersey area here at some point.
Simple. Summer.
Yeah, it's crazy because we have so many different places that we're
Oh
trying
yeah.
to like,
Oh yeah.
schedule and get
We're
out
gonna
there
have to
to.
get that rolling.
Yeah,
Well,
it will. Everybody that we're going to visit with, this is like the busiest time of the season. Everybody, here until probably, Halloween, everybody is tons of stuff going on. So,
who knows what will be going on by then? There might be other stuff going on. You know. But
the person seems to be doing good, still doing it in West Virginia. Yeah, that was another company that kind of screwed me over too. So, it's it's crazy again. Um,
but you live, you learn. I guess, right? You live,
you
you
do.
learn.
What else can you do? But I just see people that most of the time don't know what they're doing. So that's the biggest part of the problem. And for me, it's like I don't get to see because normally, like when I go and people book me for events, like I don't. I get there the night before, and then we're getting ready. So a lot of times it's people I've never even investigated with before. I just know them. I had them on the show, whatever. And then you get out there, and then you see how they do things, and it's not really how I do things. Sometimes it can be a little troublesome, and so you just kind of have to go with the flow. But I have definitely learned not everybody is meant to do events. It is just.
Yeah, I think that's probably a for sure thing there.
I'm just going to say shout out to Jay and Marie Yates for the Vulture City Paracon in Arizona because I've known
One that sounds like
Jay and
fun.
Marie for a very long time. Marie, that's my twin right there, and I will say they have their shit together. I mean, the events have always been very good. I will be back there this year in October. The property is absolutely amazing. Um, but again, they've been doing events for a very, very long time. So they kind of have a track record. But there's so many people now that are getting into it brand new, and we're having all kinds of problems. We're also, because of this, we're seeing a lot of places that are no longer wanting to rent their places out for investigations, or they want a shit ton of money to go and investigate them. Uh, or you can't get in them at all because unless you're a celebrity or got a television show, they're not even allowing you in.
Years ago, the Myrtle Plantation, everybody's heard of the Myrtle Plantation, got a hold of
Mhm.
me and said, "Oh, you want to investigate our location?" And I said, "Yeah, that'd be cool." And they're like, "Well, we need $1 million up front that you'll get after your investigation is done. It's just for insurance purposes to cover if there's any damages done to the property." And I'm like, "What? I have a
Yeah,
million dollars?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I can't come up with that kind of. I don't have that kind of funding behind me." But yeah, it's pretty interesting because that location's one of those ones you're talking about that people don't usually get in there. And
right.
like $1 million down. I mean, you get it back. It's like a deposit, security deposit, but still, it's like, man, they think all us investigators are making some bucks here or something. I don't know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they definitely do. That's a given.
Yeah.
Um, let me. I wanted to pull up. No, that one's not it. So there was a couple of locations. Why is this not closing? Hold on. There's a couple of locations that are offering investigations. So I did see. I want to. Let me look it up real quick. Hold on. I mean, but for you in investigating, like, what are your thoughts of places not allowing people to go in? Unless you're
Me personally, or the audience, or
no you.
not wanting people to go in. Well, you know, probably because they're a little bit leery of the outcome. Like a lot. They probably had some bad experiences or heard about some bad experiences. We did a place one time that it's actually in Oregon. It's a really active place, but it was known to be haunted, and they'd advertised it to be haunted. But we did a radio show there where we were guests on this fairly well known radio show, and it got a lot of attention that night, and they didn't want anybody back in there because the backlash was the following month or something. They had people contacting them left and right because of the fact that they viewed the show. So it's like, I don't know. Some of it is maybe they don't want that kind of attention. Some of it is, I'm sure that you know it's like what we've discussed for the last half hour is people showing up and just setting such a terrible example and being on bad behavior, and just it could be a variety of things. But as far as like if somebody has a haunted location, uh, that's a tough one because it's almost like they maybe some of these places should open it up to research, but then again, there's the problem is there's not a, I mean, there's not a huge portion of people that be contacting them would be doing it just for the research. They would be wanting to get some kind of attention or make some money or something. Um, but yeah, that's why it was really neat. Never got to investigate it, the Wolf Manor, which I I had lots of watched lots of opportunities. I just never could make it down to California, Clovis, California. But yeah, he Todd Wolf opened that up to pretty much anybody that went down there to investigate it because he viewed it as like a hot spot that people could research and a good place to gather evidence and data. But you've heard of the Wolf Manor, right? You've taught.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But unfortunately, they tore it down. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
it's
I know.
a pretty neat place. So I hear.
Yeah, well, I didn't get a chance to investigate either before they tore it down, so it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, yeah. There's quite a few locations like that that no longer exist. We talked about. I mean, there's a lot of places like that we talked about being on the bucket list. I'd like to go check out Bobby Mackey's. My big thing is I want to investigate some of these notorious just have a reputation to be you know just insane dark, evil, scary places, and check them out. Just see what's bumping the night, and some of these places would be fun.
Well, Rose says the problem is that not everyone and their mother is doing investigation, especially celebrities. They are taking advantage of the law of demand. Uh, I agree. And hey, Paul, well, it's nice to see you, Paul. Thank you so much. Um,
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
and then David says, "I'm just listening. I've been friends with Christina for a long time, and I can bring orbs in my room. I record them all the time, and I can call them in at will." Now, again, there is a difference. David, again, we've known each other for a long time. There is a difference. I do believe in orbs. And I have seen a lot of evidence where there are intelligent orbs.
Absolutely.
That is different than what we are talking about of what we are seeing across Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, even TikTok, where it's like literally footage of outside and you can literally see, bugs zooming across and they're like, oh my God, look at the energy.
And there's nothing. We're not clowning on people that make legitimate mistakes, but I think people are really too evidence happy when it comes to that kind of phenomenon. But yeah, and the whole demonizing of orbs came when one of the TV teams said, well, I think we're kind of past the orb thing. One of a long time ago, one of the first guys on Sci-Fi, one of the the original shows, they demonized orbs. So everybody from then on, you just heard them saying, oh, we're past the orb thing. But no, there are orbs, 100%. But you gotta, there's a lot of stuff that can kind of look similar.
Well, there was another place recently that I had posted about in on my Facebook page, and it was about the Rolling Hills Asylum. Now, I don't know how many people have actually investigated there, but I will tell you, this was brought to my attention recently, and I think we were talking about, different places that were on our bucket list, and Rolling Hills actually has always been on my bucket list.
Yeah, it sounds like
Of places that I like to investigate. But I was being sent a whole lot of like negative stuff after I said that on the show, and people were sending it to me privately. I was seeing people posting online about how the owner treats people who pay to investigate there. Um, and then I got actually a link that somebody sent me like that later that day. This was like a couple weeks ago, and it was to the Better Business Bureau, and it was just one after another. I'll just read a couple of them. Um, Sarah, she said, I highly recommend that you don't go to the asylum. And if you do, beware of the owner, Sharon. What a terrible woman. Right off the bat, she was argumentative with people during check in. She took everything from us, including the salt, crystal, and sage that I brought for me for my protection. She was very angry that I even brought it. The whole tour itself was admittedly incredible and an amazing experience. Now, this is something that I do hear over and over and over again.
Yeah, about people not allowing certain. Well, you got to look at it like this. Some people believe 100% that people can bring evil into an establishment that's already haunted, and rituals and things like that. And to be honest, I don't really blame that. I mean, I can understand that thought, because you have people that would go in there and they'd try to conjure up certain entities. I mean, I could see that. I could understand that being a concern.
I could see them not wanting to bring things in, and I mean, again, me personally, when I go investigate, I bring the stuff that I use for my protection, and I do my, all my little ritual stuff outside of the building, and
Right.
then when I leave, before I leave, I do it again. So I think that it's they're obviously not going to let you go in and like start saging the place or putting salt
Right.
anywhere. So I mean, I can understand that part. The
Ritual.
thing is that they said, they didn't bring that stuff in, and again, that part I can understand. One of the things I do see echoed in all of the different reviews is that the actual location is amazing with evidence. Like everybody seems like they get, they do great. This girl says, I had many paranormal experiences that I'll never forget. After the tour, my group and I collected our stuff and we went outside to wait for a ride that never came. We were stranded there in the cold, an hour from home. One of the other workers there let us back in and we tried to find another ride, but the owner, Sharon, did not like that. She was angry and she wanted us to wait there for an hour for a ride, even though we told her we'd wait outside. She just wanted to close up and leave. Then another person says, the lady that owns this is rude and a fraud. The haunted suit she is displaying is a phony. I sent a Freedom of Information Act request to the New York State Police, and I received a report that the suit was in fact stolen. And she has a phony one up claiming it's the original. She made a police report herself saying it was stolen. She also threw my group of 8 people out because one of our friends was pregnant and brought a bottle of bottled water in. The owner saw her with the bottle and went absolutely ballistic and ripped the bottle from her friend's hand and threw it out the door. And again, it's just one after another after another. Let me go back into our. Hold on just a second. Now let me catch up on stuff. Hey Jackie, no, that's perfectly fine. Roll says the problem is that old houses are dusty. So unless the orb is moving in ways that dust doesn't, then I don't count them. I'm right there with you, Roll. Yeah,
yeah, that's.
All right, let's see. Salt can damage floors in a house. Yeah, so again, I would agree. For things like that, yeah, don't take things with you. I mean, I would think that would be kind of a standard if you're investigating. They're not going to let you take a whole bunch of stuff in there. Like you're not going to be doing rituals and stuff in places. Although I know some people who have been unescorted and unwatched and have done plenty of stuff like that. So. Paul says going to the Goldfield Hotel next month. Oh, Paul, that's amazing. We're gonna have to get together.
Exactly what goes on in there.
Oh yeah, Paul has investigated the Goldfield Hotel before, and then they stopped. I think it was sold, and they stopped letting anybody investigate up there. So it's not too far from Virginia City. And right. Paul, if you go to Paul's Paranormal Veracity YouTube channel. Put your link up if you can, Paul, and I'll share it. Go to his YouTube channel because I'll tell you, Paul, when you talk about somebody who films and a true investigator, that's what you get with Paul. And awesome. The way that he can investigate and film things and some of the stuff that he has captured is beyond mind blowing. So we're gonna have to have him come on the show too. Dave says, I don't mean to interrupt. I came in the middle, I think. Actually, I think it came in like 20 minutes in, but we're talking about paranormal events that are, groups that are frauds, some locations, different things like that. Oh, let me put this up. All right. It's also in the chat room if anybody wants to check out. And like
locations and all the the companies we've been talking about. They should have included one thing though, when they advertise this that they don't supply the Vaseline when you get screwed. So that's one thing.
I appreciate you showing up when you don't work. So I know you're working hard out there. All right. The other thing, so I found, which was very interesting, is the Conjuring House. And I don't know how many people are listening have been at the Conjuring House in the past. Hold on. David Wheel, it says, I think you guys are crazy going to the haunted houses. That would scare the crap out of me. I know it's a real thing. Oh yeah, they're real things. But you know what? For us, I mean, for me, I can say personally, I mean, I've had paranormal stuff go on my whole life, so it doesn't scare me at all. In fact, it intrigues me, and the more that it's haunted, the more it makes me want to go there.
I mean, that's what we're after, anyway. That's
absolutely.
I've been out with plenty of people that they reacted strangely when something happened.
Right.
And I'm like, well, why the heck are you investigating this stuff for? If it scares you that bad, No, I mean, it's definitely fascinating. It's the most interesting thing, I think, or one of the most interesting things out there that never gets boring.
I have to say, I agree with you. Right. So the Conjuring House. So have you? I think we talked about this one other show.
Right.
Have you ever been there?
I've never been there. I know the owner, and he's invited me to go. Yeah, they're another. He does charge, I believe, to go through there. I'm pretty sure. But a lot of people do go through there, and people claim to capture all kinds of neat stuff. And I haven't heard anything negative about the owner, but yeah, it's one of those places that because it was, a movie was produced based on it, and
right.
It has some pretty big shoes to fill. So a lot of these locations, I think I would be like kind of disappointed in. I think, or a lot of people would be once they show up there, and it doesn't, it's not like the movie that they watched, or Um,
Yeah, yeah, I might have to agree with that. And I do know, yes, that the Conjuring house, actually, a lot of the houses that if they're well known, charge quite a bit to go there. That's
I'm
kind of
sure.
why I kind of stray away from those kind of locations. But I found that the Conjuring house is now going to, if you don't want to go and stay in the house, you can now camp.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I heard. And on the property outside, which is to claim to be just as haunted or more haunted than the inside.
Yeah, says the
So,
house that helped inspire Warner Brothers' Discovery wide popularly the Conjuring franchise is now open for camping. Though the house has long been held as too powerful to reside in, the house's website has revealed that it's now allowing people to go G or G camping on its ground. The a combination of ghosts and camping. The house camping packages are now available to book from this month through October. Now, it you can rent it out. It says the current owners. Oh, we can go back a little bit. So, based on the Prones family, the infamous case of file of Ed and Lorraine Warren was the inspiration for the 2013 movie The Conjuring. On the grounds of the house, the current owners have erected 8 camping sites in which paranormal investigators or fans of the film can rent out, beginning at $300 a night. The visitors are to bring their own equipment to investigate, um, and to make your visits even more unforgettable, they recommend bundling the overnight camping experience with the haunted and historic tour. Now, my question is for everybody out there in the listeners, and you too, Chad. Would you pay $300 a night to go and camp on the property?
no, that's just me. I wouldn't. I wouldn't pay. No, I would not pay to go listen to a ghost story and camp in somebody's front yard.
Yes, Stanley says, big money, and I completely
I mean, if
agree.
people want to do it, that's all fine and good, and nothing against the owner. But no, I mean, I've that's what I do. That's what we do is we investigate haunted locations, and I would not pay $300 to go camp in somebody's yard. No.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is too. It's like there's so many places out there that
Never.
are active.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, you can find them. I get that locations have to charge, and that's
Well, yeah,
fine.
especially once you become a target of tourism like that,
Yes.
your location is made famous because of a movie or something. But I'm just not. I just don't have a. I'm just not obsessed with those more known locations like that. I think that you're right about there being a lot of haunted places out there, a lot of active locations. The ones that are not well known, I think you're going to get more activity out of.
Those are the ones I love the best
Because
because
think about all the people that go through there. Think about if there is something there. Think about how used it is, how used it gets to seeing people and having people around. It's after a while, it's not going to react, like it would normally. You think it just be kind of like I better get used to this because this is going to go on for a while. People
yeah,
coming in and out of here.
yeah. I mean, again, once again, Conjuring House is on my bucket list of wanting, to
Cool.
go
Let's
and
check
do.
it out. Definitely. Just like
I
years
just,
ago. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Christina.
I just think, $1,000, $1,200, whatever it is that I read that it is, for an overnight investigation. For me, it's just I can't see spending that kind of money. I mean, yeah, if you're gonna have a group of people and it might be, $300-$400, and everybody's chipping in. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
That would
Yeah, interesting to check it out. But I mean, to me, these locations remind me of going to like an amusement park. Like that's what
yeah,
they're kind of like. It's like, you go ride the ride and you pay money to ride the ride, and then you come home and, it's like, that's not what we do. I mean, in my opinion, that's also not what we do. We're
right.
not into taking people to get their thrills and go see a horror movie or something. You want to do that.
Yeah,
It's like and let's go a step further. Let's say they claim something very dark is at this location, but yet they're allowing people to be exposed to it over and over again. I mean, what if there's some a danger element here involved in the people that are going and you know seeing this place, paying money to camp there and stuff. It's I really think that a lot of these locations are exaggerated and they're marketed and it's just if you want to go see it for the thrill, just say, "Oh, I saw the Conjuring house." That's cool, but it would be definitely not the approach that I would take to it. I'd want to actually investigate it and do some real research or some real try to collect some kind of data there, to see if the claims are if there's any legitimacy, and yep,
All right. Well, let's switch
gears.
genre and let's hop over to the one of the top things I've been seeing on social media was the object that was seen in the skies above Las Vegas just a few days ago. Then there was supposedly a crash not too long after. Now, mind you, that this light in the sky or this craft, whatever it was recorded by multiple people across Las Vegas, including the police department, police officers. So there was a lot of
Right,
people.
right.
Not too long after that seems to go down, there is a frantic 911 call made by the son of a family saying that there was some kind of crash and that they had two between 8 and 10 foot tall beings in the backyard, and they were calling the
Hanging
police.
out.
Well, I mean, they're calling the police for help, and can you imagine getting the call for that? Yeah, you need to go to so and so address because
I'd be like, we got to see what's going on. But whether what I show up thinking I was going to find two 11 or 10 foot tall beings and no, not really. But it's the UFO thing is kind of it's kind of been popping up in the news, and I mean more so than ever right now.
Yeah, we have been seeing things over and over and over. So yeah, that's for sure. Let's see.
Right. We got. Well, you have to be skeptical, 100%.
Yeah, so Raul's saying I'm skeptical on that. Teens who are surgically connected to cell phones but didn't take a pic of the aliens.
Well, there's an interesting other part of the story here that I was watching it on the news a couple days ago, and they confiscated the family's phones, everybody's phone, and footage wasn't allowed in the backyard because they said it was a privacy issue. Why would they confiscate the phones of the people that lived in the house? I mean, I thought was kind of strange.
Yeah, there was nothing to be seen. I mean, again, the police officers get there, and I actually saw even body cam footage of the police officers. And you can see it clearly when they're talking to the guy and everything, and then they go to the backyard, and then it cuts off. Like every single thing.
So, yeah. That's kind of a little strange. I mean, I understand the part about the body cam footage getting cut off, but taking the phones away, why would you take their phones away? I mean, that's kind of strange. So, it could be nothing. It could be something. Who knows?
And I'm with Roll, I mean, a little bit, because he says, they're videotaping and taking all of this video while they're on, the phone, calling 911.
Whenever they release the body cam footage, because it's supposed to be made public. And from what I understood, the entire footage. I mean, they show body cam footage of people getting shot in their own house. In their own house. So it's like, what privacy laws now all of a sudden apply to the body cam footage? Kind of strange.
Yeah. And it's crazy because they're confirming, yes, that, there was a report of this and
they're
that
taking it serious. Yeah.
Right. That they responded, but, there is no official, explanation from the police department when they got there. Did they see anything? What was found?
Pretty big. And which is, it's strange that there's such a, I don't know, the way things are right now, it's like, you don't know what to believe, because there's so much crap going on, that is false propaganda, whatever. But when it comes to paranormal, very little makes it to the news, usually the mainstream. And all of a sudden now, UFOs now we got the whistleblower and all that stuff, which we were going to cover on the show also. But the whole Roswell incident hasn't been a question that everybody's wanted to know for years, whether the government has a UFO or has alien technology in their arsenal.
Well, and we've been asking this, forever, and we always, it's like, oh, there's no such thing, there's no evidence to back this. And then just like a couple of years ago, it just out of nowhere, then the Pentagon, everybody's going to start saying, "Oh yeah, that's when they released, and validated the Tic
Right.
Tac video."
Right.
And
Sure. And it could be, it could be for other reasons. It could be just like we were talking about. It could be just something to distract the public, but also it could be because these things are seen so often. Now that's something too that's happening is that they really can't say, like, let's say all this phenomenon is real, which there's something going on out there. I don't know what it is, what we're seeing, but I mean, I've personally seen a couple of things, but it's
right,
like, you know, um, it's there's something going on, whether it's the government doing it or whether it's real, legitimate, unexplained phenomenon that's not coming from this earth. Who knows? But there's something going on, and
right.
it's being seen so often that the government would really have a hard time denying that this is going on. So
I think Raul's right on the same, wavelength as us. This could have been a false flag to cover something
very, yeah, absolutely
happened to
could have
them.
been, could have been. There, the government's done that before. Just right when they're about ready to, pass a bill that takes away our rights, some portions of it or whatever. They usually have a distraction.
Or also, Deborah, she says, "I can't believe the so-called UFO did not hit any planes in the Las Vegas air due to how many there are always in the sky." That's a good
True,
point because
true.
again, I'm gonna grab this video of it showing it streaking across the sky because again, it was.
And this could have been a meteorite too that people saw. Like, who knows, a comet or something.
Yeah, let me pull this up. Let me share it. Hold on. But see,
Pretty interesting. That's pretty. I mean, that's pretty interesting.
but once again, I have to say the same thing. Michelle says it looks like a meteor.
It does.
My thing is that this is from the body cam of a police officer. My
Right.
thing is, if
Too.
why did you not continue to keep the video going? Because if it did crash, as people keep saying, there would be a loud boom, right?
Mhm.
And we don't hear any of that. Nor have I had anybody that is, I been able to see anything where they're saying like there's proof that it crashed somewhere. So
Well,
again,
definitely
these could be two
meteor.
things that aren't even have nothing to do with each other.
If
Rose
it
says,
good says meteor, it would definitely they would hear it hit. I'm pretty sure feel it. But if it was
right.
something sort of a craft like a spacecraft, um, yeah, I mean they'd still hear it if it was close. But it's whatever it is, isn't it's above the clouds, but it's still you can see it's down in the atmosphere. So
Very bright with that red tail on it as well.
yeah, you can see
Rose saying
the actual burning debris coming off the tail. Yeah.
right. Rose said that when there was a similar incident that happened in
Yep.
Russia, they quickly
Yep.
came out and said it was a meteorite. And again, I just want to say that I think that, and we're not going to have time tonight, but one of the other shows we will go ahead and talk about. I used to do the predictions from my precog dreams. And I stopped doing it for a while because people were getting really freaked out. But I will just tell you that I can, with some pretty good, I don't even want to say certain, with some pretty good certainty, because again, usually what I see, what I'm shown is very accurate. A lot is going to be coming in these next 6 months. And we're not going to know if we're coming or going, and we're not going to know if it's something from somebody else, another country, another race, our own people. It's going to be a mixture, I think, of all of this. And
Things are going to get a lot more interesting, is what you're saying.
yeah, 100%. Let's see. Michelle says it's green bloom from China. Could be, huh? Rose says we also keep forgetting that it isn't far from Area 51, and that's
True, true.
very, very good. Point
Like
two.
these what do they call them now? They're not UFOs. What do they call them? They call them something else now.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
some other thing. I don't know. That kind of,
yeah. Some.
but they're
So
being
Lorraine.
things are cited all over the place. Like in
Oh
everything.
yeah, 100%. There's definitely been an increase for sure. Lorraine says, "I love to hear predictions." And well, yeah, Lorraine, that's because you've been around since the beginning, and so you've heard a lot of them and seen how accurate they are. But
Quite a
you
bit to
know,
go over though. Like you said, a whole show's worth to go over.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Interesting
Paul
stuff.
says those trails behind it kind of tell me that it's very large and burning up in the atmosphere. I don't think alien craft would be doing that, but who knows? I mean, again, too, yes, would they be burning up? I would think that they would just show up, but who
Well,
knows?
crashing. Who knows? I mean, like I said, I'm not a huge. I was never a huge believer in the whole UFO thing. I still am very skeptical. But yeah, it's just it's interesting that this stuff is there's something going on. What it is, who's responsible. I guess that's what the big question is.
And it's the UAP. It's unidentified aerial phenomenon.
That's right. Because I mean, why'd they change that? It sound better than UFO. UFO's kind of stigmatized.
So they're more politically correct, I guess. What they're wanting.
Whatever happened to, oh shit, what's that in the sky?
Right. Nibiru. Okay. The planets. Yeah. There's so much that we're seeing in the skies right now. But I will just tell you, and I mean, I'll save all of this because I do want to do just a separate show just based on the predictions because there's a lot. But just know that there is going to be a lot of false flags in the next 6 months.
Interesting times we're living in now. Interesting times.
A whole lot. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting time, but I think we're going to be seeing, we've seen over the last couple of years, horrible weather, natural disasters, things like that. And we are going to see a lot more of that, but a lot more of this is going to be man-made. So,
well, yeah, I mean, if we only knew the things that they're experimenting with right now.
Yeah. Carl says, what has MUFON said about it? Actually, I haven't heard that they've said anything about it. And actually, one of my teammates is a California director for MUFON. I'll have to take a look and check with her and see as well. Let's see. The light of the tail looks similar to a missile, and the speed too could have been an accidental missile crash.
True. You never know. It could have been somebody might have launched something on accident, or could have been one of those
because
Elon Musk ships that those things have been blowing up left and right, and so who knows.
Be definitely interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what they try to come out and say it is, but I feel like it's just going to get swept under the rug, like when the so-called weather balloons or whatever,
and if they really didn't want us to know about it, if it was government created, I mean, if it is government created, it's definitely some kind of distraction because they're offering too many explanations. I mean, they're fishing with information too much, like this whistleblower and stuff that came out recently, or it could not be government related at all. Who knows? It's one of those things that it's kind of hard to say for sure, but. Like you said, I'm pretty sure in time we'll find out for sure. If it is some kind of alien phenomenon, I think we're in trouble, because, there's a lot of these things showing up.
Michelle, she's in Reno, Nevada, and she said she's seen some crazy shit in the sky. And I will say that that's so true because I went to Las Vegas. It had to have been about 7-8 years ago for my birthday, and a bunch of people from my team, we all flew out there, and we were staying at this haunted hotel. So we decided that it was not on the strip, so if we wanted to go on the strip, we had to either walk to downtown to the strip, or we had to take a taxi, but it was expensive, so we decided we were going to walk. And as we were walking, we saw something metallic floating in the sky above Las Vegas. My teammate pulled out his camera. He videotaped it. And it made it on multiple. The film made it on multiple UFO radio shows. It was very interesting, and it lasted for a long time, and then it literally just took off. It's
That's
like
one of
just
the things about this phenomenon is these things will hover for like hours, and I mean, like I said, we don't know what all the government has. They have some. I'm sure they have technology we know nothing about. Actually, I would bet money on it. But
well,
it's pretty interesting because the fuel consumption of something like that can just hover like that for hours. Pretty impressive. And none of these things are aerodynamically shaped. They don't seem to be giving off any kind of a heat signature, which is interesting. But then again, we don't know what exactly they've got, that they're testing. I think that they have technology that, like I said, I would say 100% that we know nothing about.
what's seen in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah,
Right,
David.
right.
Right.
It's popping up all over.
Well, interestingly enough, you have a friend who had a sighting.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to play that.
Sure, yeah.
And then you actually had your own sighting.
The video
you and your wife walking home, right?
As well. Yeah, I mean, there was definitely something I was concerned about it, Anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and play those videos. They're interesting.
All right, a second.
My buddy's sighting is really interesting.
All right, let me share it. Hold on, where are we at? Okay, here we are.
And this one lasted forever. This one to my buddy saw it. It was hovering for hours.
All right, let's look at
it. Okay.
Sure. Oh. She's getting closer to you too, and might poke your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, right there looks like a spaceship, doesn't it?
Sure does. Right there. So many gases coming off of it, though. You see them?
There is a lot of gases, yeah. A lot of something coming off. Look at that.
See the gases in the air up there?
That's probably what all the clouds are. Right up above it, maybe. Just look at over in there. All that, yep.
Wonder what it is.
I wonder if all that stuff is coming from there. What in the hell is that thing?
Peacock, I think. You got a couple big ones up there. Oops.
Right there.
Now, again, that is, very interesting of how we.
Old school camcorder too. That's why the zooming in was so dramatic. Is that they were trying to get it to focus on it, and it wasn't. It's doing kind of a terrible job of it. But you can tell there's something there, and that was like it was quite a ways up in the sky, and it sat there for a long time.
Well, and you can. I mean, at some point where it's kind of focused in, you can really see it pretty good. Let's see what
certainly something was up there.
Says Roll says that's why they're calling them UAPs because they're no longer flying. They float, appear seemingly from a portal, etc.
Yeah, are they interdimensional? That's my question.
Yeah, Carol Ann says I have seen 3 at Mount Shasta and 1 in front of my house in 2014. Roll says Christina and Chad in Vegas would be fun. I think. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Paul says, Christina in Vegas, what could go wrong? Well, just about anything and everything could go wrong. We know, I got Final Destination Life, so let's just, go see what happens. David says some great camera work.
Yeah, I don't know about great camera work, but yeah.
It's hard, I've tried to, video them too. It is hard to get them in focus. I mean, I think that's another reason why it's so, you don't really get a lot of evidence of really, good.
Yeah, it's kind of iffy, and two, you're kind of amazed by what's going on. So watching the camera is kind of not your priority, it seems like, when you see something like that.
So it was still pretty good, that being said. It's at least it's something. And again, there's certain times that you can really kind of
And there's
see
and
it well.
the one that that we captured, it, like you were asking if it was Starlink satellites. Well, the thing is, I can see the resemblance to it, but the thing was way up in the sky. When you play the video, it kind of, you can't really, see it real well at first, but it was way up there, and then it came down and lower altitude, and then followed us right above us, and then took off. Satellites don't drop in elevation like that; they go up in the orbit, and that's it. So, but yeah, this thing. I thought it was crashing. It was getting close at such a rate, that it was pretty interesting.
Rosso Deborah says, LOL, I personally do not think we will truthfully know what it is, but the more we ask questions and research it, the closer we get to the truth. Absolutely. For people who have been investigating stuff like this for a very, very long time,
Yeah,
everybody's we want.
May never be achieved. There's a lot of stuff out there that's kind of how it is.
Paul says, I don't like Vegas. Only went for that event not too long ago. Yeah, I went to an event out there. It was good. I've only been to Vegas twice, so both times it was kind of crazy. Roll says UFO, Bigfoot, and ghost camera training is lacking. LOL.
Yeah, you got that right.
And Paul says they need to film with the Samsung phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've been doing this for 25 years. I still can't operate a camera correctly.
No kidding. All right, let's go to the video that you had as well. Hold on just a second. All right.
I am. It's trying to focus in on it.
You goddamn Independence Day. Please stop. Jennifer. God damn it.
What is that?
Please stop. Babe, it's flying.
I know.
It's flying. What is it, dude?
Is it some kind of drone?
No, babe, it's big.
No, I think it's closer than we think.
Let's get out of the way, babe. Let's get out of the way. Come on. Come on.
What is that, babe?
Come on, let's get out of the way.
It's getting bigger.
Come on. Go.
What is that? I can't see it now.
Dig in. That's what we need. Come on, Kevin, we gotta go. Come on, go. Was it crashing?
Babe, look.
What is it, babe? What is that?
All right. Now, you and I talked about this. And originally, when I saw this, I said, hey, could it possibly be the Starlink satellites? Because a lot of people have been posting and seeing them everywhere. And that's what it is. But you're saying this was different. And explain why.
It was, well, when you first start off, if you can see in the video is not really clear. It was like barely noticeable in the sky. It just looked odd, like I started looking at it, and it looked like it was getting bigger. And I was like, what the hell is that thing? So the most disturbing thing about it is it must have known that we were filming it somehow, because it was way up there and then it came down, and when it was above us, that last shot, it was not too far above us, and it had been way up in the sky, and it dropped down. Within that short amount of time, it was right over us. And then speaking of camera, I wasn't the camera guy, but it wouldn't have been much better if I was, I'm pretty sure.
You better be careful.
I know. I know. Well, the film ends there, but it continued. This thing continued to be above, to kind of follow us, hovering above us until we went up the road a ways, and then it was kind of like doing this rotating thing right there when we looked up at it. But then when they're at the end of it, when it took off, it kind of evened out to where it was like, instead of being vertical, it was like this, and then it just took off. I mean, it was just like you see the light just go, and it was gone.
Right. And so anybody who's ever watched, seen the Starlink satellites, that's not what happens.
It wasn't a satellite. I don't know what it was, but it was not a satellite. It was very large, very large. Looked like about the size of a football field. But and then other people saw it too. There were two, like a handful of sightings that night, and then a couple nights later, people had seen it. And I don't know what it was for sure, but it disturbed me because it looked like it was crashing. Like I said, it was coming down in altitude that quick that I thought it was going to crash. And I was like, shit, man, we better not be here when this thing crashes. So, yeah. So anyway, I don't know what it was, but it was strange.
Well, again, I think that oh, hold on. Caroline says, that's cool. Thanks for sharing. Again, and if anybody, if you guys get some good video, whether it's stuff in the sky, unexplained, if it's paranormal, if it's cryptid, send it to us. Send it. We would love to see it and go over it.
No doubt.
All right, guys. Well, looks like that we have covered our topics. I do just want to mention our upcoming guest coming for the show. Next week, obviously, is Father's Day, but we will be here at 5 p.m. at the normal time, and our guest is going to be Elizabeth Conley. So she's going to be coming on and talking about her and her partner's new YouTube channel and their TV show that they have coming out. The following weekend, or following Sunday, which is the 25th, we're going to have Michelle LeBaron, one of my favorite people, the Ghost Magnet. She's going to be here to talk about all of her experiences and what's going on with her. Let's see what else we have. We got a lot going on this year. Then we'll have Vanessa Hogel. She'll be here July 2nd. And then on the 9th, we have Ann Bender. The 16th, I'm going to save open for the fake or fact episode, as well as the prediction show. I'll fill that in as soon as we get off of the show. Then we have Lala Bright on the 23rd, talking about paranormal and UFOs as well. And then July 30th, we have Sam Baltrusis. So he's going to be here talking about all the stuff he's doing as well. So we've got a lot of people coming up.
So to all you people faking videos out there, you guys be warned. We're going to get the bottom of this fake crap.
So Rosso Deborah says, I've seen 5 triangular crafts flying in the sky at night without lights. They were flying together. Granted, no one would be able to see them unless you were looking for something in the sky. Then it flew over the lights at the casino in Laughlin, and on the bottom of the craft were small circles, but those crafts could turn and flip on a dime. They flew over 5 casinos out there in Laughlin, heading towards Yuma, and then flipped on a dime, heading back towards Vegas. Never saw any crafts like that before.
Yeah, like I said, it's. I think it's safe to say there's some weird activity in the skies right now. You know what it is, who it is.
Yeah. David said, I was taken as a child and flew in a ship 14 hours missing time. Well, then, David, you need to contact us and come on as a guest, because I love to.
I hear about it, definitely.
Jennifer says, Christine, I sent you a video of an intelligent orb, only 13 seconds long. Okay, give me just a second. I will check it out real quick.
Cool. Yeah, okay. Good one for the orb debate.
Roll says, I will be a steady attendee from now on. Love this show. Oh, Roll, thank you so much. I so appreciate that for sure.
You have a new fan there.
All right, let me go in here real quick so I can check for that other.
Now, did you make sure to blur out the strings I have attached to whatever you're seeing there? No,
huh?
Oh, I said, now, I wonder if she edited it to make sure that the strings that I had attached to whatever anomalies flying around, if they're blurred out, so you can't tell them fake.
So make sure you don't get called out. Okay, here, hold on, right here. I found it. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Let me share it.
I wonder which clip it is. Kind of curious.
All right, let's look at it again. Comes out, goes up, turn, kind of looks like it's turning, and then zips away.
Yeah,
All right, everybody, what do you think?
I think it's a moth or something.
Hold on. Let's see. More and more that meets sky pitch. You may miss something. I wish I could be abducted. I could use a break. Yeah, I don't know if you'd want that, Paul. I might share one of my stories here on one of our other shows, and then maybe not so much to change your mind.
You hear about everybody gets abducted, gets probed in these weird areas. I wonder if that's true or not. That's the only reason why I would want to be abducted is to put that one to rest.
Well, my experience that I remember again was just so crazy that it's like you don't even want to talk about it and just forget
Right.
it happened. So
Joking
that
aside,
makes
yeah, that would be, and a lot of stuff would be very, very hard to share. Because that's the first thing that, of course, you're gonna be leery of is that people are going to not take you serious, or they're going to think you're. But these phenomena do happen. I believe 100% they do happen, and that they are real. So it'd be interesting to hear about them and get to see if any sense can be made of it. Definitely, definitely, that'll be a good show.
All right, well, we'll get that one planned. I'll get it on the calendar, so it'll be coming up. But thank you guys so much for joining. You guys, I love how many comments and questions and just your guys' opinions. I absolutely love it. It makes
Yes, it's awesome.
the show go so much smoothly.
We do this. That's the most rewarding part about it is getting to talk to all you guys about your experiences and get your input because we actually believe in the unity thing.
Okay, don't put me in that bullshit. I think that I have upset every guest that has come on the show that says something about how they love Paraunity.
Well, but if you look at it like calling out people's bullshit is that to me that's unity.
We're gonna put meaning
people that aren't.
We're gonna unify calling out everybody. We'll just make that the unity. Yeah. I like that kind of unity. But yeah, the kumbaya, we all have the same goals, and that went out the window a long time ago. So
no, that's not the unity I'm talking about.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for joining. I'm so glad that you guys have enjoyed the show. Make sure to share it on your pages with your friends and your groups, and we will be back next week. As always, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you have somebody you would like us to bring on the show, go ahead and send me or chat a message, and we'll be happy. We'll be happy.
Get you on here. Yeah, absolutely.
Get a hold of me and send me a message, and let's get you scheduled for the show. I'd love to hear about your encounter as well. All right, everybody, you guys have a great week. We will see you next weekend. Good night, everyone. As always, I love you.